Sure, I'm going to use a personal example. So I used to live in Mexico, and it was a pretty dangerous place to live. And in addition to that, there was a lot of paranoia about the danger living there. So most people did not wear any of their jewelry outside, including their engagement ring and wedding ring. But I did, and people would always tell me, you can't wear your rings here, you can't wear your jewelry here. Now have in mind, we didn't walk in the streets. It wasn't safe enough to walk in the streets. And I went everywhere by car, and I just went from my house to the destination, from my destination back to my house. So I didn't wear elaborate jewelry, and I didn't wear ostentatious jewelry, but I wore my engagement ring, and if I went to a wedding or a bar mitzvah, of course I wore a little bit more jewelry. One Sunday morning, I was at an event, and somebody said to me, as always, oh, you live in Mexico now, you can't wear your jewelry, take your rings off, it's dangerous, you can't wear your jewelry. And I said, okay, thank you, as I always said to them, and then I just did my thing. But she went on, and she continued, and she said, okay, you can wear your ring, you're at an event now, but when you go to the mall, just don't go to the mall with your jewelry, take it off, it's so dangerous there. Now that hit me, because my plan for the day was, after that event, I was going to pick up my kids and we were going to go to the mall. So when I got back home, I said, okay, she just told me not to take my jewelry to the mall, I'll leave it home. And I took off all my jewelry and I put them in my jewelry box, and I put my jewelry box in my safe. And I went with my husband and my kids to the mall, and we were running around, and the kids were having a great time and playing on things, and we were buying things. And all of a sudden we get a phone call. Somebody called my husband and said, I just passed by your house and I saw that your door is completely broken. Somebody just broke into your house. We left, we ran home, and we saw it. The door was completely on the floor. We ran inside to see what happened, what kind of mess was created. And it turns out they took my jewelry box, and I lost everything. My engagement and wedding ring, all of my wedding jewelry, every piece of jewelry I owned, everything was gone. It was devastating. In addition to the violation that I felt, I was also very, very upset and very frustrated that I allowed somebody to convince me to take off my jewelry and leave it at home. And I kept saying it would have been so much safer if it was on me. I can't believe I took it off and left it at home, because if I would have continued wearing my jewelry, I would still have it today. And I felt that way for a few days. I was really upset and I was really disappointed. And then all of a sudden, I realized something. I said, wait, no, this is the wrong perspective. That's not what happened at all. There was a decree from above that my rings and all of my jewelry should be stolen. For whatever reason, that was Hashem's cheshbon, but that was a decree from above. And suddenly it hit me. Could you imagine how much worse it would have been if they stole it from my fingers? Imagine how much greater the trauma would have been had they come and taken my jewelry from me while I was wearing it. Not only the emotional stress that comes with that feeling of being mugged, but chas v'shalom, if they couldn't get a piece of jewelry off, they wouldn't hesitate to just cut the limb off to get that jewelry that they want, or whatever it is. Like, it could have been so much worse. It could have been devastating. It could have been really tragic. And instead, I just lost my jewelry. And when I had that mindset shift, everything changed for me. Suddenly, instead of saying, Hashem, why? I said, Hashem, thank you. Thank you for saving my life. Thank you for sparing me from any more significant trauma that could have come along with that. Thank you. It's just my jewelry. And this is how we understand the idea of living in problem or living in possibility, of living one life but experiencing a different life. We could experience things however we choose to perceive them. So I could have continued on and been devastated and been heartbroken and upset and violated and any other legitimate emotion that came with them stealing my jewelry. But I chose to have a different perspective and to understand that, no, it was only my jewelry, but my life was spared, and my emotions were spared, and those of my children who would have witnessed any sort of trauma that would have come along with it happening any other way. This was the biggest chesed of Hashem. So our circumstances in life don't determine our quality of life. Our perspective of life determines our quality of life.